Hello and welcome. I am Windsor Lindor, founder of Windsor Lindor Consulting, executive life coach, and strategic consultant. Thank you for joining me for another reflective conversation in our continuing series, Pathway to Awakening a Human Experience and Meaning. This recording reflection is titled The Architecture of Purpose, Designing the Inner Leader. And before we begin, I invite you to settle into this moment. Allow yourself to arrive fully. There is nothing to prove here, nothing to perform, nothing to force. This is simply an opportunity to pause and reconnect with the deeper dimensions of leadership, awareness, and becoming. Then I invite you to take a slow breath in. Hold it gently and release again. Allow the breath to enter naturally. Hold it softly. As you exhale without urgency, let your shoulders soften. Allow your jaw to relax. Let your hands rest comfortably as you give yourself permission to be present. Not because presence solves every challenge, because presence allows us to meet life more honestly. And honesty is where meaningful leadership begins. In this recording, we are exploring purpose. Purpose is a word that appears frequently in conversations about success, fulfillment, leadership, and achievement. Many people spend years searching for it. Others spend years trying to define it. Some quietly wonder whether they have somehow missed it altogether. Yet, purpose is often misunderstood. It is commonly treated as a destination, a future discovery, in single lens waiting somewhere beyond the horizon. Purpose may include discovery, vision, and calling. However, it also asks for something more immediately. It asks how we are choosing to live right now. Because purpose is not only something we find, it is something we design. And that design begins within. And leadership today requires more than intelligence, more than productivity, expertise, and strategy. True, those qualities remain valuable, they remain necessary. Yet, sustainable leadership depends upon something deeper. It depends upon the quality of the internal life from which decisions emerge. The internal life shapes how we respond to pressure, how we communicate, recover from disappointment, navigate uncertainty, influence others, and ultimately how we relate to ourselves. A person can possess extraordinary talent and still feel disconnected from the deeper direction. A person can achieve meaningful success and still experience internal fragmentation. A person can carry significant responsibility while quietly questioning whether the life they are building truly reflects who they are becoming. These experiences are more common than many people realize. Often, they are not signs of failure, they are invitations. Invitations to pause and examine the architecture beneath the visible results. Because every life is built upon an architecture. Every leadership journey rests upon an inner design. Some aspects of that design are intentional, others are inherited. Some emerge through conscious choice, others emerge through habit, assumption, fear, or repetition. Over time, these structures begin shaping our experience, whether we notice them or not. This is why purpose matters. It provides direction to our effort. It gives meaning to discipline. It gives integrity. Yes, it gives integrity to achievement. It helps success become more than accumulation. It allows success to become aligned, impact. And alignment matters. Many people are moving quickly. They are accomplishing remarkable things. They are managing responsibility. Yes, responsibilities, deadlines, expectations, opportunities, and obligations with impressive efficiency. Yet, movement and meaning are not always the same thing. Activity and alignment are not always the same thing. Productivity and purpose are not always the same thing. A person can become highly skilled at managing demands while slowly losing connection with what matters most. And this is one of the quiet challenges of modern leadership. We learn how to move quickly. We do not always learn how to move meaningfully. We learn how to accomplish. We do not always learn how to align. We learn how to respond. We do not always learn how to reflect. And reflection is essential because reflection helps us ask questions that productivity alone cannot answer. Questions such as, what am I building? Why does it matter? Does my life reflect what I claim to value? Does my behavior reflect the person I wish to become? Is my ambition being guided by purpose, or is it being driven by pressure? These questions are not designed to create judgment. They are designed to create awareness. Awareness is one of the most valuable capacities a leader can develop. Without awareness, patterns remain invisible. Without awareness, assumptions become unquestioned truths. Without awareness, urgency quietly becomes the architect of our lives. With awareness, new possibilities emerge. Choice becomes available. Leadership becomes more intentional. This is why I often describe purpose as architecture. Purpose is not simply what you do. Purpose is the inner design that shapes why you do it, how you do it, and whether your actions reflect your deepest values. Purpose, it becomes powerful when inspiration evolves into structure. When purpose is viewed architecturally, four foundational elements become especially important, and they are identity, core values, discipline, and emotional intelligence. Together, these four dimensions create the framework through which purpose becomes embodied. Identity provides direction, core values provide integrity, discipline provides consistency, emotional intelligence provides maturity. When these foundations are disconnected, achievement may occur without coherence. When they begin working together, leadership becomes more grounded, more intentional, sustainable, and more whole. Coherence is an important word. We do not hear it often in conversations about success. Yet, coherence may be one of the most valuable outcomes of purposeful living. Coherence occurs when the inner life and outer behavior begin moving in the same direction. When our core values are visible through our choices, when our priorities are visible through our calendars, when our aspirations are supported by our habits, when our words and actions begin to agree, coherence reduces internal friction. And the internal friction is costly. It consumes energy. It creates confusion. It complicates decisions. Yes, it weakens focus. There it places unnecessary strain on relationships. Many capable people are not struggling because they lack intelligence. They are struggling because too much of their energy is being consumed by internal contradiction. Part of them wants peace, another part continue practicing reactivity. Part of them wants freedom, another another part continues saying yes to every demand. Part of them wants purpose, another part allows urgency to govern every hour of the day. This is not a character flaw. It is not a moral failure. It is a signal that stronger architecture may be needed, and architecture can be redesigned. That is the encouraging truth. Human beings possess the remarkable capacity to become more intentional, more aware, aligned, and integrated. The process begins with identity. Identity is often confused with titles, roles, positions, achievements, or public recognition. Yet, identity reaches more deeper. Identity is the internal reference point from which we live. It is the quiet structure beneath behavior. It shapes how we respond when circumstances become difficult. It influences how we make decisions, how we communicate, navigate, conflict, pursue growth, and eliminate setbacks. How we define success. Identity is not merely who others believe us to be. Identity is who we are practicing becoming. And that distinction matters because every repeated behavior strengthens a particular identity. Every repeated choice reinforces a particular structure. Every repeated response contributes to the architecture of our lives. This process is not about perfection, it is about practice. Every day, through decisions, habits, conversations, responses, and commitments, we are strengthening aspects of the person we are becoming. whether consciously or unconsciously, intentionally or unintentionally. The invitation is not to become perfect. The invitation is to become aware, because awareness creates choice, and choice creates possibility. The deeper question is really, what am I doing? The deeper question is often, what identity is my behavior reinforcing? That question has the power to change how we view our lives, because it moves attention beyond outcomes and into becoming, beyond achievement and into character, beyond appearance and into alignment. And purpose flourishes in that place. Purpose grows stronger when identity and behavior begin supporting one another. When inner commitments become visible through daily action, when core values become embodied rather than simply expressed, when leadership becomes an extension of integrity rather than performance. Before we conclude today's reflection, I invite you to sit quietly with this one question, not as a problem to solve, as an invitation to explore. And the question is, where in my life would greater alignment between my core values and my action create more clarity, energy, and peace? Allow the question to remain with you. There's no need to rush toward an answer. Sometimes the most valuable insights emerge through patient observation. Sometimes awareness arrives gradually. And sometimes a single honest question becomes the beginning of meaningful transformation. As we continue into the next conversation, we will explore how discipline transforms identity into lived experience, and how the moral architecture of becoming shapes the quality of our leadership, our character, and our decisions. Until then, take one slow breath. Allow yourself to appreciate the simple act of becoming more aware. Awareness is where design begins, and design is where purpose becomes visible. I am Windsor Lindor. Thank you for spending this time with me. I look forward to continue our conversation in part 2 of the architecture of purpose, designing the inner leader. Until then, continue practicing the discipline of becoming. Continue strengthening the architecture within, and continue living with clarity, emotional intelligence, and excellence in action. Be well.